Ready.
That's my favorite part. This open meeting of the Triton Regional Middle School and High School School Building Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency signed into law by Governor Healy on March 28, 2025, which extends the authorization for state and local public bodies to conduct public meetings in a hybrid or remote format through June 30th, 2027. These provisions suspend the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. I hereby call to order the meeting of the Triton Regional Middle and High School School Building Committee on August 14th at 6:34 p.m. I am Matthew Landers, Chair of the School Building Committee, and I would like to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Brian Forget.
Yes.
We said Jim's not here, right?
Jim Colba's not here. Nope.
Richard Poor.
Yes.
Patrick Kelly.
Yes.
Alan McRae.
I'm here.
John Skonecki.
Yes.
Narissa Wallen.
Yep.
Christine Nealon.
Here.
Michael Colburn.
Yes.
Allison Irvin.
Yes.
Peter Abram.
Yes.
Erica Champagne.
Yes.
Peter, I'm going to butcher this, sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And River Wynn.
Hello.
Thank you. For this meeting, the Triton Regional School Building Committee is conveying remotely via Zoom using the information posted on the district's website identifying how the public may join. If you are personally attending by video conference using your device's camera, please be aware that others may be able to see you. Building committee members, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. All supporting material that has been provided to the members of this body are available on the district's website, which is with the agenda posting, unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Each vote taken during this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All right. And I just need we have the meeting minutes from July 9th. Can I get a motion to approve those? Unless anyone has a question. Or actually, I'm supposed to get a motion first, sorry.
So moved.
I'll second.
Oh.
Any discussion? No? Okay, roll call vote. Brian.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Patrick Kelly.
Yes.
Alan McRae.
Yes.
John Skonecki.
Yes.
Narissa Wallen.
Yes.
Christine Nealon.
Abstain. I was not at that meeting.
Thank you. Michael Colburn.
Yes.
Allison Irving.
Yes.
Peter Abram.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry. Erica Champagne.
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
I'm sorry. And River.
I do not believe I have the power to vote.
Oh, yes. I have you crossed out. Sorry.
No worries.
Just practicing.
Thank you
All
for your
right,
honesty.
and-
Remember.
Thank you for not screwing up the agenda, the minutes. All right. Now I'm going to hand it over to Brian to speak about our submission timeline, our MSBA submission and timelines with some exciting news.
All right. So I think that's the perfect example of why we're going to do all these future meetings whenever possible in person. So we're not wasting 5 minutes on remote protocol and administrivia. Okay, so just some quick updates. And again, we're meeting again. I think and we'll talk about this and confirm at the end of the meeting. But at the last meeting, we talked about communication. And certainly I shared last time on July 9th, we're meeting earlier and doing more than we normally would in Module 1, and that's a good thing. And so I think there's some information to share, but at this point, there's not a whole lot going on. That's about to, kick into overdrive here soon. But in having our conversations, I think it makes sense to have a meeting routinely on the calendar. So we can confirm that before we close here today. So not a ton of updates other than to tell you that we completed all of our submissions on our deliverables to the MSBA. The big is the output is a feasibility study agreement. I now have a draft that it's with our attorney, but it basically codifies what's included on the agenda on board docs. There's Exhibit A. So the big deliverable here is that we've committed the $1.7 million you recommended. The school committee approved that. on July something, I forget. After July 9th, the school committee met and did approve that. So that is formally approved. I'm actually waiting to hear back from our attorney, and I think our attorney confirmed that I will be signing the facility study agreement, but it actually is a vote of the school committee. And so haven't even told the chair that yet, but that will come to the school committee on the 27th. They're meeting 2 weeks from yesterday. And so that is a 17-page document with a lot of legalese that basically codifies everything we've done to date. It codifies that 47.86% roughly a reimbursement rate as our base. It commits the budget of not to exceed 1.7 million, and attached here on board docs is Exhibit A, which requires us to break down that $1.7 million between OPM, our owner's project manager, who will be taking the reins and leading us through this process, architecture and engineering, environmental and site work, and then other. So we've had conversations. Matt and I spoke with Jim Kolb, the vice chair here, who is an OPM for STV. I spoke with several other business managers. I spoke with some designers. And so there's different ways to do this. In talking with the MSBA, they said many districts at this point keep the breakdown pretty simple. There are others that know there's a significant environmental issue or a significant site issue or another type of unique situation that they're going to study that might require a consultant to go ahead and call that out in this budget. But at this point, we're keeping the 350 to 400 was the estimate for an OPM. So we used 400 and then left the balance of the 1.7, which leaves 1.3 million for architecture and engineering. So again, this is the first phase. So they call it the FSA funding. So the feasibility study agreement funding takes us through both the feasibility study, module 3, and the schematic design. So the schematic design is once we go through feasibility study, all the options, we come up with a preferred, and then we do some schematic designing around that. That's based on some very preliminary visioning work we've done, more extensive, larger public involved visioning work that will happen this fall into next winter. And then when the OPM and the design team is on board, they lead us through that process. And that's that 1.7 million is all of that work. So those are the deliverables. Those are now in. And you'll remember early on, we had said we would love to do this as quickly as possible. We were slated to go back to the December meeting to be welcomed into Module 2. We said, can we get in any sooner? They said yes. They finally committed and said we can get there in October. They've now reached out to me. I was out of town in North Carolina, but I took the call and chatted at length with Robin. And so they're welcoming us in on August 27th. So at first, it took me back a little bit because there's a lot of things that have to happen. But the change actually does not really adjust our timeline. So what we were thinking was welcome in on October 29th. We would then use the months of November into December to select our OPM, have an OPM by January, then use the latter part of January, February, and March to select our designer. So then we have our full design team. That's still on track because the number of projects they've accepted in recent years and the timelines of those, as well as the 22 new that they welcomed in, we're in this first tranche of groups coming into the feasibility module 2, the designer selection. But we are not slated to go to again, we'll spend a lot more time talking through all these details. We walk through the process hand in hand with the MSBA. There is a pre-selected, pre-qualified group of OPMs. We bring again, walking hand in hand with the MSBA, we bring to it's called the OPM review panel, our recommendation, the building committee's recommendation for our OPM. So what I was told was they're welcoming us in early. That allows us to start the process early, but we are slated to be to be brought before the OPM the OPM review panel on January 5th. So yes, we'll be welcomed into Module 2 sooner, but the timeline on the selection of the OPM, our own as project manager, it's much longer than they had originally projected, just based on the, I don't want to call it a backlog, that's my words, not theirs, but there are a significant number of projects. And so they could potentially bring that into December. That group meets in the first week of every month. So there's a chance that there are other projects that are slated for earlier meetings that could slide out. But at this point, the soonest we could bring an OPM recommendation would be January 5th. That allows us to then move from that point, award the contract to our OPM. We then start the process of the designer, the architect selection, which is generally an 8 to 12 week process. So that puts us on track to be selecting, wrapping up our designer selection in March. So in the draft communications, we'll kind of talk through quickly. We're saying that we hope to have the design team in place and approved by April 1st. So that's it by way of timeline as far as deliverables and such. So just to confirm, we'll be welcomed. Again, we'll be invited to be welcomed into Module 2, 2 weeks from yesterday, August 25th, 27th. It's a 10 a.m. meeting. It is a public meeting. Anyone here is welcome to attend. I'll certainly send that information out. I don't have the information yet, but once that's published, we'll be able to select one person to speak on behalf, generally the chair of the building committee or the superintendent or what have you. So we'll work through that process, get the details to all of you. It is remote. Every MSBA meeting is now remote. So anyone who's interested, whether you're on a job site or sitting on a beach or you're a teacher and you're back in school, you'll have the ability to log on and watch that. And I guess I would say I would encourage some of you to, to watch a meeting at some point. It's not a lot of excitement, but there are some milestones that can be pretty exciting. So certainly when we get to the part where we're bringing a recommended design, a preferred design, that certainly is a much more exciting meeting. But any questions on timeline, process, next steps? Okay. Oh, Peter Secondiani, not Abram.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I missed this. Probably you already said it, and I wasn't keen enough to catch it. But the OPM process, the OPM selection process happens how?
No, I did not say that. Thank you for asking that question, Peter. It is a very prescribed process. In general, there will be a subgroup of this building committee that is identified to go through that process. It is a formal request for services. So it's an RFS that's issued. They give us templates. Rich, as our procurement officer for the district, oversees that process. But again, it is very much hand in hand with the MSBA. So we have to have a draft request for services to them by the beginning of October. They review it, make sure it matches their requirements. We then issue the request for services. It would have the budget. So it's basically a sealed, there's two processes, right? There's an RFQ, a request for qualifications, a request for services, a request for proposals, RFP. That is much more, you look at the qualifications, the proposal separately from the price, and then there's a sealed bid. So when we look for transportation, it's a sealed bid. 19 bus runs, here's what we need to do, give us your price. This is a request for services. So we say the budget is this, it's a not to exceed number of 1.7 million. We estimate it at 400 for OPM, 1.3 for designer collectively. And then they submit proposals. We would have a subcommittee of this group that would go through them. We rate them based on their qualifications, based on their proposals, favorable, less favorable, most favorable. After we do that, then we look at the price proposals. But again, the price proposals are a not to exceed. So we know it's no more than 1.7. But someone could come in highly qualified, well recommended, and have a budget of 1.55. And so we first rate them on their qualifications and then the price proposals. We then have to bring, as we go through our process, we then bring it back to the MSBA and they approve. So that January 5th meeting would be this I missed a step. That subgroup of this building committee brings it back to the full committee, and the building committee makes the recommendation. It's that recommendation that goes on January 5th, unless it's brought sooner, would go on January 5th to the MSBA OPM review panel. They approve it. We execute the contract. And then largely the OPM takes over from there, right? That doesn't mean they're actually in charge, right? We still retain control, but they are working on our behalf to manage the project, to manage the process. Um, the MSBA pre-qualifies OPM, so they know, I mean, OPMs that are going to respond largely will know the process. They will know how to walk through the process, maximize the MSBA system in the way that, you know, what we talk about this a lot about what is reimbursable versus what's not reimbursable. We obviously want to maximize our reimbursable components of the project. So all of that is then at the direction of the OPM. So there will be a small group, to your direct answer to your question. It will be a small group of this subcommittee or of this committee that makes that completes the lion's share of that project.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll move on to the draft communications review, the community message for the initial visioning sessions that's attached to the agenda, and I will turn it back over to Brian.
Okay, so included on the agenda, we talked about this last time, the visioning sessions. So what, again, just to confirm, these visioning sessions are being done very early in the process, much earlier than normally would be. To this point, it has been largely educators speaking education speak. This fall, we'll broaden that to include the larger community, still a contained group, not just wide open forums yet. So there's a session on September 15th and a session on September 30th and October 15th. And I believe we talked about those dates specifically. It will be educators, community members, parents, some students, alumni. We'll put it out far and wide. So we'll be selecting a small group, because this is still some pretty concise work, to continue refining some of this visioning. And then as we get into the winter, depends whether we have an OPM on board. Largely, I mean, there will be some that we have to wait for the OPM. They love this type of visioning work. So we'll have been able to do a lot of the pre-work. But then we're working with Perillo, Mike Perillo, who works with a lot of the designers that would largely take that work and continue it. So this message is a message that I would like to send out, or I intend to send out to the entire community. We have email addresses for everyone, right? Current students. I know, Mike, you had mentioned having an alumni network access. We'll put this on Facebook. So this will be, I still think it's not as exciting as those larger community sessions where we'll be talking about real specific building details and questions. But yeah, so this is the draft communication. I wanted to bring it to you all to ask if you had feedback, thoughts, suggestions.
Yeah.
Or if it looks
I thought they were all well done. I think on the middle one, not the video and not the introduction, but the longer of the three, I did appreciate, and I think it's one of my kind of reasons for being here is that the maintenance part and being able to upkeep it goes hand in hand along with the bells and whistles. So I appreciated seeing that.
So you're talking about the press release?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we can take all three of these together or separately. So there's three documents. There's three separate agenda items. The communication would be a message from me to the community, right? Welcoming interest, feedback, those who want to be part of that the forums in the fall. The press release is just an update, right? So the larger community, it is long. It is not a short press release. To Peter's point, I mean, I will say it started more than twice the length, and it got pared back because there's trying to capture everything we've done to date while also kind of getting that sense of what's happening next and how the community will be involved. To your point, Peter, right? I mean, part of this is the reason we have parents and community members and town officials on this is that this is an extension of the community, right? This is our building. It's not any one individual's building. And the town officials, parents, community members are going to be the ones that are going to be paying for it. So they have to be highly invested and understand the process. So the press release is the first of what will be several throughout the course of the process. And we'll talk, and again, we're not ready to make a formal commitment on a communication strategy, but whether we hand this to a firm and ready to commit, larger dollars, or this is stuff that I'm taking on, with our staff as a district level to provide the communications, those will be more routine. Not included on this on the agenda. I shared with you that there's a school building committee website, and that is posted. It's linked in the quick links on our main district page. It's included in the press release. We're taking the minutes, which you saw were very detailed. My assistant, Deborah Murphy, takes them from the video, whether it be a Zoom meeting or a YouTube meeting. And so a lot of detail. We're taking that and paring it down a little bit. And if you look on the building committee website, it has a process update section that's an accordioned. And so after every meeting, after the minutes are drafted, we're going to take that, plug that in as a new meeting date. And so every meeting you'll be able to see exactly what happened at that meeting, decisions that were made, discussions that were had, one more place we can point people back to. And then every couple meetings, our thought is to issue a press release. If it's less frequent information, I think once we get into the project, obviously information may be more routinely needed to be shared. So yeah, let's take those two because I think the script is a little different. Or do you want to take them one at a time, Matt? Oh, you're muted. You muted and unmuted.
Sorry, there's not a vote, so we don't think we have to, do we?
No, yeah, there's no official actions that need to be taken tonight. I think it's just feedback before, right? I want this the draft press release. Drafted that as that the building committee is pleased, right? We wanted that coming from this group, the SBC, whereas the communication about those visioning sessions are from me. So yeah,
So does anyone have any questions or feedback?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe the communication from me first about the visioning sessions, thoughts, feedback about that. Does that clearly convey the intent? My goal would be to get that out probably next week. I feel like people are starting to pay attention to school again. Messages about schedules and class lists went out this week. Got an email going out tomorrow with bus lists. And then Rich's world is about to get real.
Huh.
So I feel like next week people will be.
It's gonna be great.
I think the draft community message is short and succinct and gives clear bullet points for what each of those visioning sessions will look like and who can be involved and how to join if that's something that you're interested in. So I think that gives people a pretty clear and concise first point of contact. And then the longer message, the press release, I thought was well done. I thought made a lot of sense and provided a good sense of history for the project.
All right, thanks, Patrick. Yeah, the community message about the visioning, we wanted to make sure that it's gave people a clear, we want people to be able to commit to both, right? Because it's going to continue the work from one session to the next. And B, wanted to be really clear to people that this isn't yet talking about building. And if that's where you want to talk, like this is going to be more about kind of the educational visioning, the social development, the kind of what we want for our students. And then we get to the building, the kind of the space, all of that.
I would agree with Patrick on that one, Brian.
Okay.
And also your assessment that you just said.
Yep. Great. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, so everyone's good with the community message. And Brian, you're still inviting the school building committee to observe those sessions, right?
Yeah, so that was I mean, I think it's very different. It's not school building committee kind of stuff yet, but certainly I think this committee, I know we talked about roles last time, and I think there's value in um, the two educators. So Allison and Matt as educators were on the visioning team. So they would be part of this, and then that group grows. I think rather than having building committee members other part of the work, I think at this point it'd be great to invite you all as building committee members to sit in. I know it's during the day, that's not easy, but for those interested in seeing what this work is, by way of communication, certainly I think whether that September 30th session or the October 15th session would welcome you to come and be silent observers. I'm going to try and be a silent observer. Doesn't happen well. But I'm going to practice my silent observing skills. And also just to confirm, we had talked about a location to hold these. We actually were going to do it at the Salisbury Library. It's got a great space. Rowley, our leadership team, is doing our meetings at the Rowley Library. Great space. All of the libraries tend to open up a little later. And so for these, we decided, all right, we're going to bring it into Triton. We're going to do it in the high school library. It'll disrupt the library on those 2 days, but we're going to work around that. Just because if this group is approaching 45, 50, that might be a larger group for those spaces. And right, if we're talking about education and vision and what we want for our students academically, socially, emotionally, developmentally, let's do it in a school. So yeah, both of those sessions, September 30th and October 15th, will be at the high school. And I didn't put that information in the email. It was just, here's the dates, here's the content. We'll get interest, select the individuals, which means depending on the interest, we might say no to some people, but hopefully people are understanding.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Can I ask one question about the communication? I think maybe I didn't get this, or I just wasn't listening for the specifics. Can you say again who you are intending to send the communication about the visioning out to?
So we have a limited communication in who I can send to, right? So our parent square sends out to all current families. We'll certainly send this through, the DCC list. So all town officials, we'll post it obviously then on social media. And that's where I feel like we'll have the reach, whether we talk about Mike and the alumni group or parents moving it along. Email wise, we'll publish it in our systems and then on the website and ask people to pass it along. When we get to, I think, the larger community sessions, when we're actually inviting, if 300 people show up, 300 people are participating level of sessions, when we have a designer and an OPM on board, then I think we do press releases for those and push that even further and wider to make sure that word gets out.
That makes sense. Okay. I was just thinking, I guess when I think about this, I think about like actual people who are involved in the middle school, high school right now, but I think elementary might have interest in joining some of these as well, because their kids are going to be here at the time that this opens, some of them. So I just wanted to make sure it was going out to those groups as well and not specifically middle school, high school.
Thank you for raising that. Absolutely. This will go out district-wide.
Thanks.
Some might argue that the parents of a kindergarten, second and third grader have a more vested interest than those of a sophomore and senior, other than their tax bill.
Okay, so we're good to send that. Brian's good to send that out. So moving on to the draft press release review.
I feel like we kind of did those two at the same time.
You did. Any questions about that?
I just had one suggestion. I don't really know how to fix it. So it's a suggestion without a solution.
Okay.
But I think having to wait until the very end of I know you shortened it, but the 2 pages of content to get to, oh, this project might be done in 2030 or 2031. I said this at the last meeting. I think that message is something that is lost on a lot of, folks in the community. That they're not 100% aware of, like, this is a long road. So even if there's a way to sort of like give some sort of intro into a quick overview of the timeline, and then you get some more of the timeline details later on. It just might be helpful to hit that message a little sooner in the communication.
That's a great suggestion. Yeah, I think even if it in that opening paragraph, if it kind of harkens to that and says, we're talking about a project that's likely done in 2031, more detail later in the. Great.
Yeah.
I think you can even plug it in at the end of that second sentence. So you could do like the Triton School District MSBA partnership began in December 2024. And then at the end of that sentence, do an end is anticipated to complete in, and at least get an end date in there in a logical way.
All right.
Any other questions or concerns? Sounds like there's none, so I think we're good. Brian will make those changes and send it out.
Yeah, so my thought is sending the message out to families and the press release next week. I think the press release that can go anytime, right? And so I'll get that to Ketty, who publishes it on our social media website and connects with the daily news and the local news in Ipswich and anywhere else we can get it. Okay.
All right, moving on to the draft video script review. Hand it back over to Brian.
Sorry, once we have an OPM, I promise you won't have to listen to me as much.
So that.
Feeling the love here tonight. These are, you have in the agenda a sample video that was done for, this was Swansea, right? There is the script that you have. These are designed as Cartoony to you calls them pillars. So each of the pillars of the process. So we've kind of combined some portions of the video. The early portions of the Swansea video sound similar as you're looking at the Triton script and you're hearing the same text. Ours takes a little more. Their first video was when they had where they were in module 3. They had an OPM designed and they were already starting to pull in some of that, the existing conditions, right? So to the point where when we're doing those community sessions and we're showing pictures of existing conditions and all that, that would be a next video. So we took that out, it'll be some of the visioning in. So there is no draft video yet. I believe Dave said he'll start animating this. He'll be working on this next week. But I think you can follow the script and get a general sense of they're not entirely unique. They're rebranded, the color scheme and such from district to district. But those districts that I've spoken with, Hamilton, Wenham, Swansea, others that have used it, said their response has just been good. They're not huge bells and whistles kind of video, but they're just kind of straight 101 level. Here's an explanation of. So there was part of me that thought about let's wait and issue the press release with the video. I guess that could be a question. Dave said he should have that video ready for the week, the first week of school. So whatever do we come back on the 2nd? It's Labor Day, the 1st this year, right? So that first week of September, as we're returning, the video should be done. So we could add a quick snippet in there with a link to the video if we wanted to, or we could issue the release now, reissue the video, get that out on our website, main website, what have you, later. I don't know if. So yeah, 2 thoughts on both the script, the content, as well as the timing.
Does anyone have a preference on release timing? And does anyone have any questions or comments on the content? Can you remind us again how much these are cost? I think it was $750, was it, or $795?
$795 per video. So they're listed as per pillar, but it's basically comes out to it's about $800 per video. So again, we could take it to them and have all kinds of crazy edits and stuff, and it would be significantly more expensive than that. So the value here is it's largely the process. They make it Tritonized, add some tweaks, and then animate it and do the overscript.
I have a random other question. Did they host and we embed, or do we host?
That's a great, if I look at the agenda, I'm almost 99%. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I didn't actually attach the video. So when you all click this video, does it bring up the script or does it bring up a video?
It's the script. I didn't want to be the only one.
Agreed.
Okay, so
And if I had to say, I would say release both at the same time. Just that's my vote.
with the release and the video.
If you're already there clicking on one, you might as well click on both. Save some time. That's my thought.
I believe it's hosted by YouTube, Narissa, according to their proposal on the first meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's there. Sorry about that.
I just want to make sure that we own it, quote unquote, like that the hosting of it.
Own it or own the hosting of it?
Own the hosting of it, just so that, you know, sometimes links get changed, and if you have to go back to them and then get a new link, and that's an ongoing thing. You wanna, if there's a problem with it, right, you wanna be able to fix it quick.
Yeah, so they do host it. I'm editing this as we speak. I'm sorry. I think we will hang on one second.
Yeah, it looks like it's on their Vimeo or YouTube channel. I'm looking at it right.
So a couple of things that, are you ready for other feedback too, Brian?
Yes, if you want to just discuss while I'm fixing my errors.
So a couple of things that I see here. I'm not seeing the middle school mentioned in this. I know the way the proposal is written was for the high school and a review of middle school, but I think we should be mindful of the fact that we're looking at both the middle school and high school. And then throughout the statement, it talks about Triton Regional, and very few people are referring to the campus as Triton Regional as opposed to just Triton. I think calling it Triton Regional throughout just sounds, I think, more canned and formal than it needs to. And then there's one or two spots it's in the middle of the second page when it's referring to our school building committee. In the paragraph directly after, it says they'll start by selecting an owner's project manager. That's, I almost think it should say we'll start, because I think the more we include we and us and our throughout the language, the better, as opposed to it sounding like this is coming from someone that's not part of this group.
I would agree on the we and us. Try to make sure we involve everyone. Speaking as one instead of an individual.
Other thoughts on, I know it's small, but Triton versus Triton Regional? Maybe I'm the only one who cares.
No, I was just gonna say,
too.
I personally have always used the regional just because I like to emphasize that, you know, it's supported by multiple communities, not by a single one. You know, it's not Newburyport High School, it's, you know, Triton Regional High School, as in it's, because going to other schools in the state, I'm sure you've experienced this, Patrick. They're like, where is Triton as if it's a town on its own.
Mhm.
Whereas, where is Wachusett? Where is, and I just feel like the regional is an explanatory in a way of the way that the district functions.
I agree, Narissa, with what you just said.
But maybe it gets said once and then drops back to Triton. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm not married to it. That's just the way I usually explain it because that's the way people get it.
Although this is intended for our community, and I would hope that our three towns know that we're a regional district.
I agree with Patrick on it. The community messages, if it's going out to the community, I do think Triton less formal and saying it to the community makes a little more sense because it makes you feel like we are part of the community. If it's going out in a more formal way to the state and to other places, it's different because, like you said, Narissa, Triton Regional District to explain it. But to our towns, Triton is how we all kind of refer to it. None of us really refer to ourselves as Triton Regional School District.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
agree with that too.
And the second part, you wanted to change they'll to will?
I think so. I just think anywhere it says they or they'll, that might have been the only place that I thought it, with my first read through. I saw it in a couple of spots. It just feels like this is coming from the outside as opposed to this is coming from.
Isn't it referring to the school building committee though?
It is. And it is referring back to it, so it might just be what it is. It just when I read it, I was reading it thinking this sounds like it's coming from somewhere else.
So if you all refresh back on that board docs link where you went for the link to Zoom and the rest of the agenda, that is now where it says this video. It's an actual video. People will just want to. Sorry. So you can
Brian,
see.
are you able to share the video on the Zoom link right now? So we all can watch it together, maybe?
Yes. If I can find it. Hang on 1 second.
While you're working on that, I just want to say one of the things I like about the script is I always struggle with acronyms and kind of these very specific to the process terms. And I think the script does a really nice job of saying sort of this is the owner's project manager, this is what they do. And they'll be called the OPM, and then it uses OPM through the rest of the video. This is, selecting a designer and whatever. This is what they do, and then kind of moving forward with that terminology. So I really like that about the script, because otherwise I think you almost need another, like a whole separate index or like commonly used terms to explain everything that, that we talk about through this process.
Yeah, it's very much designed to be the first, right? Of an introduction to the whole thing. So do you want me to share it and watch the video? It's like there's a total of, it's a 5.5-minute video.
It's up to everyone.
It doesn't matter. I was just trying to, because you're trying to share it. Everyone wants to watch it. We can watch it right now, but that's up to everyone else.
Or maybe I watch a few minutes of it just so you can get a sense of. All right. So stand by. I'm on 2 different MacBooks. All right. Can you see the, it says Swansea Public Schools?
Yes.
All right. So now will be the question.
You may have heard that Swansea Public Schools is exploring the renovation, addition, and/or replacement of Joseph Case Junior High School and was accepted into the Massachusetts School Building Authority's core program. The MSBA process is like a marathon. It takes persistence, endurance, and a dedicated program that takes years to achieve. This short video summarizes the first leg of this marathon, which started in December 2022 when Swansea was accepted into the MSBA program. We'll show the opportunity we have to secure tens of millions of dollars in MSBA funding for the project. We'll demonstrate the need for a new Case Junior High School. And we'll provide a timeline of the MSBA process with key opportunities for you to get involved and to provide your input, as well as the MSBA's key dates of approval. Swansea has a rare opportunity to fund a new junior high school project with the MSBA. The MSBA is a state authority that helps local school districts pay for the design and construction of schools. It's funded more than $17 billion in statewide school construction since 2004. The program is highly competitive. Only 15% of school districts that apply are accepted into the program each year. Case Junior High School was accepted into the core program in December 2022 and moved into the feasibility study phase in February 2024, following years of preparation and waiting. The process is like a marathon, involving years of dedication to determine the most fiscally responsible solution for the future of a public school. For each school, the owner's project manager keeps the project on time and on budget, while a design team of architects and engineers evaluates all potential solutions, weighing the pros and cons of each. The payoff for this work is significant. By completing the MSBA marathon, Swansea can have up to 56% of its eligible costs reimbursed by the MSBA. It could also get up to 2 incentive points associated with the district's maintenance program and another 4 incentive points associated with green school initiatives. That's a total of about 62% of eligible costs, tens of millions of dollars, to aid the project that won't come out of our local tax assessments. Swansea submitted a statement of interest to the MSBA to enter into its core program because Case Junior High School has reached the end of its.
I'm going to stop it there. So then they jump into what would be our second video, which is the case for it. And then they kind of circle back to the rest of the script, but that gives you a sense. So you could see the branding, right, where it says Swansea in the logo and the MSBA opportunity. It becomes Columbia blue, navy blue, the Triton logo, and his voice. A lot of that is Dave Carntuden. He used to be on Channel 7 long ago in A Land Far Away. If for those of you older and recognize that voice. So he does the voiceover for text that changes and blends it with AI and reanimates. So that gives you a sense of what the video would be. That first portion is largely similar to what it would be for Triton, and then the visioning would change. So
Any questions or feedback?
I was going to say, I'll circle back with Patrick to make sure I got it specifically, but I think it's that idea of making it a we, and you heard it there. The Swansea School has, it's very much a PR, which tends to be a kind of like a press release-ish. So I think I do like the idea of the kind of the we versus the, if it's talking about the building committee, it's a they, obviously. But if we're talking about generally the project, middle school, as you said, it doesn't have it there. You got to make sure the middle school is in, as well as the kind of making it more personal. Totally agree. Can work on that for sure.
Do you think we need to mention Triton Regional more than once? I think if we mention it once, I think we're good. We can just continue to say Triton. I think it sounds more.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a opinion on that?
Yeah, most people I talk to in the region and the alumni, we automatically drop their regional. Most people will drop it. But I also agree with Narissa that we have to make sure we say Triton Regional at some point, because that's where, statewide, that's how they identify us. But when we're talking locally, press releases are locally people, you can drop the regional because we all do it naturally anyways.
So I'm saying that we should probably have it in that first sentence and then drop the regional throughout the video after that.
I would agree on that.
All right.
And we can
awesome.
even drop another regional, but mostly it's Triton. It's Triton, maybe another regional dropped in here and there. It's
Yeah.
like a 6-minute script, I think.
Yeah, because we will have statewide like MSBA and other people watching it. So I think yes, that we got to have both, but we can drop the regional when we can.
All right.
All right. Anything else?
All right. So I'll tweak that. I'll share with you all a final draft, and as soon as I have a draft of the animation, I'll share it with you all. I should have that a week before. We're hoping I should have it the week before Labor Day. Is that next week? No, I got one more week. The week before Labor Day.
Okay. Moving on to a communications plan. I'll hand it back over to Brian.
Yeah, I don't know if this is on here. It's been on there. I know we've had this discussion, and I think we can just kind of hold on this for now. Ultimately, out of that budget of $1.7 million, or if it's another commitment that we're asking the school committee to allocate funding, there needs to be a decision about how we communicate this. I think we have examples from recent area projects where communication matters. And I certainly will say we are doing far more. And even the fact that we've got 3 town officials sitting here on this group, I feel good about our process, but that doesn't mean we don't need a formal communication strategy and plan. So I think everyone agrees. I think the next step is for me to bring to you a proposal. Maybe it's setting up an opportunity to have a couple different firms come in, talk about how they would do that. I certainly would want to do that in person, not over a Zoom, but have a couple, reps come in and kind of pitch how they would communicate a plan in a project like this. And then that could be a recommendation to move forward with a contract there. If it's within the $1.7 million budget, it's in the purview of the building committee, just to make sure. I don't know if I said that out loud. The school committee authorized $1.7 million at the direction of the building committee. So that 1.7 needs no further appropriation from the towns or the school committee. That is this group spending that money to study and complete this, basically modules 3, 4. So if we want to allocate money out of that, that's a decision this group makes. If it needs to be separate, another. I think that by the time we're selecting an OPM, we want to also be having that conversation. The firms have largely said, it's about communicating about the district and as a whole in general, not just the project. So we don't want to wait until we have a design. We want to be communicating formally well ahead of that. So we can talk more about that later.
Can I just ask a quick question? Is everyone comfortable with where we are so far with communication? I think we're doing more than enough so far. Is everyone good with it?
I am.
Anyone have any concerns? Okay. We're definitely not trying to fall in that other trap.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that process update section on the building committee website is going to be, it will be overkill, right? Like it will absolutely be more information than necessary, but we want to make sure that there's an actual kind of a running transcript of the decisions and discussions that this group has, so that any one of you at any point in time, whether you're talking to, an alum from the class of 67, or you're talking 71, I guess, or
that's a little early.
I know. Sorry, chose a bad year. Right. Or someone who doesn't even have kids in the schools yet, you can point them to that and get a good understanding of where we are and where we're headed.
It's also a good resource for the select board members in all 3 communities to share at their select board meetings, I think.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, and also with, the biggest thing the school board of Triton did over the other community school system is we have a diverse board. They had a very bubbled board that they were just alumni, past teachers. They weren't as diverse as us. And so I think with our diversity, we're going to get out, a lot more information, because we're going to be at parties, we're going to be at barbecues. People are going to know that we're on it, and we'll be able to do a better job with that communication because of that reason.
I agree. Thanks, Mike. So I would just say for all of you, if you're having a conversation and someone says, "Oh, I wonder something," and you feel like there's a piece of information missing, please let me know. It's information we can get up on the website. Right on the website, it has the YouTube channel, so it's got the prior two meetings. It'll have this. We'll upload this to the YouTube channel, so you can watch this meeting as well. So it'll have the minutes, it'll have the summaries, it'll have the meetings. And obviously, as we get deeper into the project, it's going to have pictures and scopes and sequences and schematics and all the fun stuff.
One thing I do, just everyone else, especially with the recorded meetings with our select board, they all get sent it. Our town manager does, our finance director does, friends do. That's the best way I use to get information out because
Mhm.
they're hearing it firsthand. They're getting the questions answered, through sight and sound. So it helps a lot, and that's why you guys are gonna be better at it because Woody didn't. Well, oops, didn't do that.
We're
So,
going to be better at it.
yes,
Mike-
yes, because of that.
Mike, can you just repeat the beginning of what you said there? I missed it.
Oh, it just I always share all the meetings with our select board members, so they
These
watch.
meetings?
Yes, when
Okay.
they come up, I always right when Brian, Brian sometimes I'm like, Brian, when's it coming out? When's it coming out? Sometimes I'm bugging him, but it's because I'm trying to get the information to our select board, our town manager, and our finance director, because that's our 7 are the ones who have to guide everyone to go where they need to go, right? So it's easier for them to see it and watch the meeting sometimes than me trying to explain it to them because I might miss something that they can catch in the meeting. So, and then with friends, when they ask me questions, I'm like, it's very easy. I just text them the meeting and then they can watch it themselves and they can formulate their own opinion. And we're not guiding their opinion. That's one thing, that's why, again, I'm really happy we have a diverse board because we have community members on this board that can get out there and tell people, hey, no, I'm a community member. I'm not part of governance. I'm not a part of this. I'm out here working with these people. It's upright, basically.
Thanks, Mike. That was helpful.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions? All right. Moving on to a regular meeting schedule. So Jim and myself spoke to Brian, and that's why we called this meeting. We wanted to try to get to at least a monthly meeting because I think it's important to get information out as soon as it comes out. So does anyone have any feelings on how we should do a monthly meeting, when we should do it? I think we decided on Thursdays. Or we spoke about Thursdays. I don't think we decided. Sorry. Anyone have any thoughts on that? Does everyone agree with a monthly meeting?
No one's jumping
For now.
with more meetings.
I'm good with a monthly meeting. I would just request that it doesn't go back to back with the DCC meetings, which are on Thursdays as well.
So
You
it might
mean
make
like
sense.
it's the next Thursday?
Yeah, like 2 Thursdays in a row is a lot for me. I'm just
Okay.
being honest. I'm getting old.
Me too. Me too. So it sounds like Thursday's good. There's no other board meetings that night, right? Town meetings or town bodies are generally Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. So we'll look to do it. If we land on the 4th Thursday, I think if DCCs tend to be like that 3rd Thursday, so maybe we do the 1st Thursday of the month, or yeah, it would have to be the 1st. So. And is it still people would prefer, please say yes, to meet in person? Yes.
Yeah.
Less of this. Cool.
Okay.
But I would also, can we do a hybrid? Because some people, work and they wouldn't be able to make it, but I think they need the ability to make it. So would everyone be okay with a hybrid? More people would probably just leaving the option open because some people travel with work and stuff, but they want to attend.
So the only issue is we don't have a good setup for that. The space, I know the committee has wrestled with this for years now, trying to figure out a good way to remote someone in. And so we figured out how to do the audio, but for the end user, it ends up being on the phone and it's not great. So I would say, I would love to say yes. I just don't think we have a good setup to be able to make it really effective for the person who is traveling, it's probably easier for them to watch the meeting because we're going to stream it live and we're going to record it. In the
So
public,
just when we've done it with the committee, I have one or two where I was remote and you can't hear anyone except for who's right by the microphone. So you miss a lot of the meeting, and then you try to watch it on TV and it's delayed. It just becomes it's very difficult. It's actually easier just to not participate and watch it after.
Okay. And I'm not just throwing this out there. Do you want me to talk to Lance and maybe try to help you guys with that for the future? Lance does a pretty good job with our hybrid meetings. He has it down pretty good.
if Lance has funding along with it, then we would love to talk to Lance.
Well, maybe the alumni
Call him
can help you with the funding so we can do it and everyone hears it. So I will talk to you. I will call you on it, Brian, and see what we can come.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more technology than the last time we looked at it a year ago.
Well, because Terry Morengi, this is what he does for a living. He's alumni, so I could talk to him, and I'm sure he's always willing to help out.
All right. Great.
All right. Anything else? I think we're good. So can I get and no one has any other questions about the meeting schedule? Brian, you'll put out a draft for next meeting. Well, when is our next meeting? When do we want to decide that?
I was going to say, so if we're gonna, I was looking at the draft DCC. I think DCC meets. Hang on one second.
It's September 11th, Brian.
Thank you. So I would say, so it's the second week. And then the school committee, we actually meet with the DCC before the school committee. Then I think it goes back to the third week in the month, right? So I think the first week of the month, probably that first Thursday of the month is likely going to be the one that makes the most sense. So it's for the three select board members, it's alternating with that. And I guess I would say to you, the first week of September, there will not be any new information to share other than I sent the email. We posted the press release. The video is now live. And we got welcomed into the next stage. So, I suppose there could be from the meeting on the 20th. Actually, I take that back. There could be some information from when we get welcomed into the, on the 27th. I think there'll be an orientation meeting on the 28th where they're going to say, here's where your next steps are. And so we could come together. So maybe folks do that?
The 4th?
4th.
That's the first week of school also. I don't know.
I know. That feels cruel.
Can we throw it on as a tentative? And if we don't need it, we don't need it.
We can. Yeah. And it could be, it could be another Zoom one. I mean, if it's a 15-minute conversation about the process to see which of you would like to be involved in that, the OPM review process, right? We could jump on a quick Zoom. So we'll want to hold it as a tentative for September 4th at 6:30 p.m.
That works for me.
Okay.
Can we also do a tentative for the October 2nd? Is it?
I was going to say, so, it'd be October 2nd.
Just in case we don't actually wind up having that September 4th.
Yom Kippur. I don't know if that impacts anyone.
No, I don't know if we should do. I don't.
Did I cut you off, Matt? Did you say something?
No, I don't know if I like it. That's Yom Kippur. I don't know if I like doing it on.
No, I don't.
Feels not right.
Why don't I do this? Why don't I put out a tentative calendar? We'll look at dates, try and make sure it won't always be the first Thursday, but stick with Thursday, 6:30 p.m. as the day of the week and the time, and then try and backfill around DCC to make sure they're not doubling up. And then we'll push it out. So at this point, I think until we have an OPM, I don't think it needs to be any more than once a month. Once we have an OPM, it's going to be more. So.
A lot more.
Yeah. Can I actually make a suggestion? Because I'm looking at the proposed DCC dates and they are all like the second or the first Thursdays, at least for the fall. Once you get into spring, it changes.
Okay.
But I just wonder if it makes sense to try to set the building committee meetings toward the end of the month.
Okay.
So the
Or
25th?
The 3rd. Yeah, it's I'm just looking at the dates that Alinda had sent me as possibilities. And for the fall, she had September 11th, October 9th, and November 6th, which are all very early in the process. I don't know if this is the most current one.
So
I know
does anyone have an issue with Brian giving an update at the DCC before he gives it to the building committee about the MSBA?
As I sit on that, I don't want to speak for everyone else because I'm going to get the update. So I would think maybe the other.
I don't have a problem personally, but I just want to make sure everyone's okay with it.
I don't either, but we'll get in the update, Matt. So
I think it's worth just defining DCC real quick is a monthly meeting of school committee, district administration, select board members, finance committee members, and tentatively the town administrators or town managers of each of the towns. So it's an information sharing.
Plus, we have a meeting that on the 27th school committee, so you're probably going to give the update during that as well. So we'll already have an update, right?
Yeah. I mean, just that we were welcomed in will be the update, and then there'll be an orientation session. I won't be able to give the details to the school committee about what's next other than the kind of basic high level I gave now. And then I was just thinking, I believe, and I don't have this in writing yet, I believe Robin from MSBA told me that we will have a draft request for services, which is work Rich, John, and I will do. That's due in early October, like October 10th, I believe they said they need that by. So for us to meet in late September, there won't have been any work that the committee, right? The RFS won't be out on the street. No one will have applied yet. So it'll be the kind of, which is basically the MSBA document that we tweak and send back to them. And I can even share that with the building committee just so it's shared out. But I don't think there will be, if we waited until, if I'm looking at the calendar, it looks like it would be September 25, October 23, November 20, and December, I'm assuming 25th isn't great, so we'll go 18th.
25th doesn't work for me, sorry. December.
Candy corns. Okay. So I'll put that on paper and then send it to you all, and then you can all look at the calendars, make sure that works, and we'll call it official through the fall.
I would say to answer your question on the updates, you update us through emails anyway, so we're getting our update through the email anyways. I don't think it's no different than in a meeting. So.
Okay, on that note, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote. Brian.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Alan.
Yes.
John Skinnicky.
Yes.
Narissa.
Yes.
Christine.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Allison.
Yes.
Peter Abram.
Yes.
Erica Champagne.
Yes.
Peter, whose name I'm going to
Yes.
try to learn how to pronounce, sorry.
Yes.
Pronounce
I'm
it
a
for
yes.
us, Peter. I was going to say,
Please.
Secondiani? Close? Yes? All right.
Perfect.
Going with Secondiani. All righty.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Enjoy the
you.
rest of your summer.
Bye.
Bye-bye.